Part 45. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 441. Chapter 441 I can give you whatever you want. Do you still remember Zhao Qing, who helped you in the nightclub 10 years ago? The middle-aged man took off his peaked cap, and Yahantian was shocked. However, the habit of pretending for many years allowed him to keep his face calm and show no emotion. His voice was calm but suddenly had a chill. Why did you show up? There were 3 of us brothers, and I was the only one who survived. Yahantian looked around and motioned for Zhao Qing to get into the car. This is not the place to talk. Zhao Qing nodded. The 2 of them got into the car one after another. Yahantian held the steering wheel but made no move to drive. Why does it appear? Nightclub, it's been more than 10 years since this happened. I didn't want to disturb you originally, but recently. Zhao Qing stretched out his hand and twirled his fingers. I'm a bit tight. I have to make a living. It was already clear at the beginning, you shouldn't forget the rules on the road. Rules are made by people, and they always change with the times. Zhao Qing took out a cigarette from the cigarette case and handed it to Yahantian, but Yahantian showed no reaction. Zhao Qing took it back and turned it around on his fingertips. The nightclub is louder now than it was back then, and it ranks first among the families in the city. How come I, Zhao Qing, have some credit for this? Nightclubs cannot be ruthless. People must be self-aware, lest they lose their wives and lose their troops. There's no need to worry. I, Zhao Qing, have been wandering alone since 10 o'clock. I have no relatives or friends. Now I have to look for you when I encounter difficulties. And you can rest assured that as long as the nightclub is willing to save me once, I, Zhao Qing, will immediately come to my rescue. Disappear before your eyes. Zhao Qing threw away his cigarette and vowed to be proficient in the work he was doing. The cold night was silent for a long time. Zhao Qing tentatively pushed a piece of paper with a bank card number written on it towards Yahantian, who quickly grabbed the note into his hand. Zhao Qing put on his peaked cap, looked around after getting off the car, lowered his hat and mysteriously left the parking lot, and then got on the motorcycle again. Yahantian clenched the note tightly, his finger joints rattling. The string of numbers were also shattered together. After Yahantian's car drove away, another car drove over and parked at the parking spot where Yahantian had just parked. The person in the driver's seat was Pei Yuchen. Chen. Ye Wei planned to go back to City S and stay with Grandma Chiao in the hospital for 2 days, so before leaving, he prepared a rich dinner for Yezikin and left a sticky note. He stretched out his hand and yawned, tears oozing out from his eyes. Wanting to go out for some air, she turned the handle and pulled the door back. A figure suddenly appeared in front of her, startling her. It's me. The next moment he was pulled into someone's arms. Ye Wei felt the familiar breath and took a deep breath. You, why are you here? Don't worry about you. It turned out that Yezikin chased her after she left. Ye Wei felt warm in her heart and said casually, it's nothing, I'll just go home. But Yezikin's tone suddenly became serious. This is not your home. But I have my family here. Little Belle, I'm the only one in your family, right? Brother, what are you talking about? Of course you are my family, but I still have an aunt, and now I have a grandma. Brother, aren't you happy for me? Ye Wei suddenly felt his shoulders sink, and he was pressed down by a force of gravity from left to right. Looking up, he met that burning gaze. Little Belle, isn't it good to live a simple life? I will give you everything you want, you just need to be happy. I can give you whatever you want. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 442. Chapter 442 Grandma won't be able to survive it. Beep beep, her phone vibrated. She turned around and saw the note from Pei Yuchen, and suddenly she didn't dare to answer it in front of Yezikin. Yezikin stared at her closely without saying a word, his eyes deep. Ye Wei hesitated until the other party hung up on his own initiative. She put away her phone as if she didn't care, turned around and held Yezikin's hand. "Brother, let's go for a walk." Just as he was about to leave, Pei Yuchen called again. Ye Wei glanced at Yezikin a few times and stood beside him to answer the call. "Miss, I have some clues about what you asked me to check." Ye Wei held the phone tightly and said to Pei Yuchen, "Sorry, I have other things to do now. Wait until I call you back." How could she discuss the original incident in front of Yezikin? The corridor of the hospital looked cold and desolate, and as soon as I walked outside, I heard someone crying. It's not loud, but it sounds distressing. They saw a young girl with a ponytail knelt on the ground, holding the doctor's white coat with one hand and begging, "Doctor, please save my grandma." The doctor shook his head and refused, with a very helpless expression, "Miss Leng, there is really nothing we can do about your grandma's matter. I will work hard to make money. I will go to work to make money. I hope you will not stop treating grandma. I only have grandma as a relative. Miss Leng, we have tried our best to help you, but now you can't afford it before. You doctors treat illnesses and save lives. If my grandma were to stop taking medicine, she would not be able to survive it." Ye Wei asked a nurse next to him, "What's going on?" The nurse shook her head and sighed, "Oh, this little girl is also pitiful. There are only two people at home, her and her grandmother. Now that her grandmother is sick and can't afford the medical bills, she still has no choice but to drop out of school and work." Ye Wei stretched out his hand and pulled Yezikin's sleeve. "Brother, help her." "Why? Her grandma can be saved, but she needs money, unlike me. Having money can't save the wet nurse. Since you ask, I will agree." Yezikin said a few words to the nurse, then took out a card with an unknown limit and handed it over. The nurse was surprised, but still brought the good news to the little girl. The little girl no longer cared about having any doubts. She turned around and kowtowed to thank her. Yezikin took Ye Wei away expressionlessly. While riding in the elevator, he suddenly said, "I'll take you back." "Where?" "G City." Ye Wei was stunned and glanced into the distance. "It's very late now, and tomorrow is a holiday. I want to stay here to spend more time with grandma." "But I want to go back." Yezikin's eyes flickered and his tone increased. That unbreakable tone made Ye Wei feel confused. She really didn't understand why Yezikin would be unhappy every time she mentioned grandma. Perhaps she is jealous because she has other family members. But she didn't see Yezikin react like this when she and her aunt Jiao Anyun broke up before. "I don't know why I have to compete with an old man." The elevator door opens. Ye Wei squeezed his hand slightly, raised her head, and told him firmly, "Brother, I want to stay." "Humph." Yezikin's face was dark and unclear, and he suddenly snorted and threw away her hand, striding away. "Then it's up to you." The inertia of force made her take a step back and stare at his arrogant back, feeling at a loss. As if he leaves this time, they will be separated. "The only thing in the night was that my heart beat like a drum." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 443. Chapter 443. He is very gentle and will pamper you forever. Just as the elevator door was about to close, Ye Wei's figure quickly got out. "Brother, I'll go back with you." In that short period of time, I don't know how many thoughts ran through her mind. In the end, it turned into a compromise. She cares too much about Yezikin. But all this is so natural. Even though Mrs. Jiao is her biological grandmother, they have never lived together. After the death of her parents, no one can compare with the decades that Yezikin spent with her. So, she took the initiative to hold Yezikin's hand and told him seriously about her decision, "I'll go back with you. To get something, you must give up something." She has always known this. 1 o'clock. G City. Yezikin carried Ye Weiwei back to the apartment. At this time, Ye Weiwei was sleeping peacefully in his arms. Opening the door, he gently placed her on the soft big bed, then gently covered her with a quilt, carefully twisting the four corners. Seeing the peaceful sleeping face, he left a dim light in the room, closed the door and walked out. In the dead of night, I stood on the windowsill and lit a cigarette, and the lingering smoke drifted by. That handsome face seemed to be shrouded in invisible sorrow, and the aloof figure looked very lonely. After a while, he put out the sparkling cigarette butts, cleaned up the smell of smoke around him, and quietly opened the only room in the night at about 2 o'clock in the morning. The dim light vaguely depicts her appearance. The voice that floats into my ears is extremely gentle. "Xiao Li, live a simple and happy life. I will give you everything you want." Probably because I was tired from running around yesterday, I slept until 11 o'clock the next day. When I got up with my stomach growling from hunger, there was an exquisite breakfast in the room. Knowing that Yezikin had prepared it for her, she quickly washed it and ate it. Thinking of what happened yesterday, Yezikin really took her back to G City last night. She fell asleep on the way, probably because Yezikin carried her back. I don't know how much distance she has traveled, but she was sleeping in Yezikin's arms as if she were sleeping on her own bed. She slept very deeply and was not easy to wake up. This may be due to dependence. Halfway through the meal, Luo Yuxi called. But she didn't expect that Luo Yuxi would not give up and let her continue to pretend to be someone else. "Qiao Qiao, can you meet Qiu Yiyan on my behalf?" Ye Weiwei responded to her calmly, "Luo Luo, if it's fake, it's fake. No matter how good you pretend, it's useless. I hope you can understand this." Luo Yuxi was a little anxious. "He is leaving today, and you will only meet him for a meal." "I'm sorry, but I also have my own things to deal with." Su Su could hear the firm refusal in Ye Weiwei's words, and Luo Yuxi was too embarrassed to press any further. Ye Weiwei was the first to hang up, slowly took a bite of cake, put it in his mouth, and swallowed it. On the other side, Luo Yuxi, who bears the name Chen Lingdang, still couldn't help but go to meet Qiu Yiyan by herself. "Hello, do you still remember me?" "Of course, you are Luo Luo's roommate." "Well, Luo Luo is really busy today and can't spare time, so he asked me to come over and guide you, as a courtesy to the landlord." Luo Yuxi said the word good face very nicely. Even if Qiu Yiyan is not happy, he still has to follow her to find out some news about the fairy Luo Baiwen. "I have never thought that Luo Luo is so beautiful. Does she have many suitors in school?" End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 444. Chapter 444. The crystal bracelet belongs to Qiao Qiao. Can you take me to your school to find her? I really don't believe how a girl as beautiful as her could find love in a game. Qiu Yiyan thought about Luo Baiwen's various appearances, but he never imagined that she was that kind of fresh and refined little fairy, as beautiful as a fairy from heaven. After all, people say, how can a really good person find some illusory people in the game to fall in love with? But this kind of thing happened to him. It was just that after meeting Luo Baiwen, she saw him as if he were a stranger. Qiu Yiyan wondered if Luo Baiwen felt that he was not worthy of her, so he deliberately distanced himself. When he met such a good-looking girl who still had feelings for him in the game, Qiu Yiyan would definitely not want to miss it. "Miss Lingdang, didn't I tell you last time that I wanted to give Luo Luo a gift? This is the bracelet I bought. Do you think she will like it?" Qiu Yiyan took out the bracelet he bought yesterday based on the principle of please his girlfriend and roommate. He originally bought a bracelet worth 200 to 300 yuan. Later, when he saw the real person Luo Baiwen and the mobile phone she used, he knew that she was rich, so he did not give away the bracelet at that time. Instead, he went to buy a new one worth 2 yuan at night. 1000 yuan branded bracelets. Luo Yuxi's eyes widened as soon as she took out the crystal bracelet. It was not because of the value, but because she was moved by Qiu Yiyan's heart. I didn't expect that my relationship would be so generous, and I even prepared a bracelet for her. Can I have a look? Luo Yuxi asked hopefully. Qiu Yiyan smiled and nodded, of course. Luo Yuxi carefully took out the crystal bracelet and looked at it carefully. The mysterious and rich purple color represented luck. This amethyst necklace exuded luster in the bright sunshine. Most girls like such gifts, not to mention Luo Yuxi. She opened the crystal bracelet, only to find that only half of it was inserted into her fingers. The size of the crystal bracelet was clearly based on Ye Wei's slender wrist. Like a ladle of cold water that instantly doused Luo Yuxi's fiery heart, she almost forgot that Qiu Yiyan was satisfied with a beautiful person like Qiao, not a fat house like her. Seeing that Luo Yuxi seemed to be fascinated by the crystal bracelet and tried to put it on, Qiu Yiyan's eyes flashed with disdain. Miss, do you think Luo will like this gift? Yes, yes. Qiu Yiyan seemed to be relieved, that's great. Are you roommates or friends? Since you said you like it, I believe Luo will also like it. Let me thank you on behalf of Luo. That's not necessary, my relationship with Luo is not that good. Qiu Yiyan smiled and stretched out his hand. Little sister, can you return the bracelet to me? I want to put it on. Oh, okay, okay. Luo Yuxi felt very uncomfortable when she saw Qiu Yiyan's cautious look. She couldn't help but test Qiu Yiyan, do you really like Luo? Qiu Yiyan admitted without hesitation, of course. Why, do you like Lolo in the game or the real one? Of course I like both of them. Luo and I fell in love because we cherish each other through games. When we met yesterday, I became more convinced. If Luo wasn't so beautiful, if Luo looked like me, would you still like her? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 445. Chapter 445, Dancing the Ancient Style Dance. Looking at the fat girl in front of him, Qiu Yiyan's first reaction was to laugh, and his second reaction was that she must be sent by the goddess to test him. I like a person who pays attention to her heart. She and I know each other and cherish each other no matter what she looks like, she is the best in my heart. Then However, Luo's beauty is truly a blessing from God. I will definitely treat her better in the future. Qiu Yiyan was eager to show his sincerity, interrupting Luo Yuxi's determination to almost reveal the truth. Qiu Yiyan didn't want to waste any more time. Miss, can you take me to your school to meet Luo? I really want to give her the bracelet myself. No, no. Luo Yuxi will never let him go to school because it is too risky. I know Luo is very busy, I just want to take a look at her and express my feelings. I won't disturb her from doing her business. It's better than this, just ask Luo yourself. If she agrees, I will take you there. If she doesn't agree, I'm sorry. Seeing her relent, Qiu Yiyan quickly took out his phone and said, okay, wait a moment. Luo Yuxi picked up her handbag and stood up, I'm going to the bathroom. Qiu Yiyan sent a message to Luo, but Luo Yuxi rejected him in the bathroom. Luo Yuxi went out at the right time and saw Qiu Yiyan sitting there with a disappointed look on his face. Luo Yuxi couldn't bear it, but she didn't expose it after all. Qiu Yiyan asked her to pass the crystal bracelet to Luo, and Luo Yuxi got her own bracelet. 2 days have passed over the weekend, and this gang meeting is finally over. Ye Wei quit the gang group. Back to school, not only study, but also the upcoming club night. 2 modern dances from the dance club were selected. With less than half a month left, the president suddenly suggested that they learn an ancient dance. The dance is very simple and mainly uses ancient costumes and props to add beauty. However, when it comes to selecting people, they naturally want to choose the one with the fastest learning ability, preferably with a basic foundation. On the day of selection, Luo Yuxi, who loves dancing, came anyway. Of course, Ye Weiwei was also present. This classroom. The only thing that made Ye think about it was that when she almost fell down and made a fool of herself, it was Luo Yuxi who stepped forward to save her without hesitation. Ye Weiwei's firm mind was slightly shaken. Luo Yuxi is very suspense because of her figure. Luo Yuxi encouraged Ye Weiwei, "Chiao Chiao, come on, I hope to see your beautiful face on the stage, as if you are shining. Glowing out. Would it also be seen by that person?" Ye Weiwei suddenly got the motivation to participate, and was unexpectedly chosen. Because time was tight, many people participated in other activities, and there were not many to choose from. Luo Yuxi learned dance very quickly, and the president hesitated. Ye Weiwei took the initiative to walk over and said, "If you can, please give Luo Yuxi a chance." It was rare for her to have a request, and the current situation did not allow for being picky, so the president finally nodded in agreement. "Chiao Chiao, you are so kind to me. I just don't like to owe favors. I accepted Luo Yuxi's favor here, and I will return it to her today." While training for dance, Luo Yuxi couldn't help but share this joy with Qiu Yiyan. I don't know how they came up with this topic in the group. Everyone said that the goddess Lolo is not only fair, rich, and beautiful, but also talented. The false Luoluo is highly praised by everyone. Seeing that Ye Wei had withdrawn from the group, she felt relieved and flashed a photo of Ye Weiwei during training to the group. "Our school is about to have a competition. Luoluo probably wants to go further and further on the road of seeking death." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 446. Chapter 446. His skills are not good. Hey, are you Yezikin's girlfriend? Scared, Ye Weiwei walked onto the road and was caught off guard by a person who jumped out from beside him. At a closer look, isn't this the swimmer He Yan who shouted to defeat Yezikin that time? "Senior, what can I do for you? I came here specifically to find you." Well, this character is quite straightforward. Ye Weiwei nodded and asked him to continue his performance. "So." He Yan's reason was, "They all say that you are Yezikin's girlfriend, and I think so too, so I came to fight with you in the hope that you would let Yezikin compete with me again." "Why? If he is willing, he will naturally ask you to compete. If he is not satisfied, why should I force it?" I never felt that Yezikin cared about winning or losing. But He Yuan, who wanted to defeat Yezikin, couldn't calm down. "What you said is all nonsense. I obviously wanted to surpass him that day. But you dived. You must have dived on purpose to attract attention, right? It was really just an accident. Although the instigator of the accident has now become her follower." Ye Weiwei rejected He Yan, but He Yan wrapped himself around Ye Weiwei like a sticky tape. "You must call him back to compete with me again. I want to get my victory back. His skills are not good." Ye Wei couldn't stand him anymore and said, "Yezikin said that he is willing to give up the first place to you." But He Yan refused to do so at this time and insisted on relying on his own strength. "I want to convince the public with the truth." After a few days of getting along, Ye Weiwei discovered that He Yan, the senior student with special talents, was simply a second-grade boy in middle school. She didn't bring this matter to Yezikin, as she thought it was just boring and a waste of time. "Senior, I'm going to dance practice, don't follow me anymore. Yezikin and I are not boyfriend and girlfriend, at least not now." He Yan insisted on staying at the only place where he practiced dancing at night. As a result, when Ye Weiwei entered the dance studio, He Yan, who was waiting outside, was suddenly pulled up by his collar and dragged back. It made him uncomfortable to death. "What are you doing? Big brother, please tell me something." "Don't be impulsive, I will tell you." He Yan was so anxious that he started to speak northeastern dialect. Suyuchan easily, with great difficulty, dragged He Yan away from Ye Weiwei, and threatened him with a warning, "Don't bother with Chiao Yan in the future." He Yan suddenly shouted out, "So Chiao Ling is in love with you?" "It's over." Something happened again. Luo Yuxi was lying by the door and closed the door tightly when she heard what the idiot said. "The day after tomorrow is the club night competition. Our ancient style dance is a special episode that has not been screened. Are you all ready? The costumes are being handed out below. The lead dancer is red, and the others are white and light pink. Clothes are rented according to size. The leader of the dance is the president, and everyone else wears the same." They were wearing hanfu, with a very plain color scheme, but one of them looked so ethereal. Chiu Yiyan kept asking Luo Yuxi for photos, and Luo Yuxi simply sent the picture of Ye Weiwei wearing hanfu. What she didn't know was that Chiu Yiyan and gang leader Xiang Yu had quietly opened a discussion group. Chiu Yiyan also said, "When Luo competes, I will go to a scene to cheer her on. This is a surprise. We can't let her know. We go to school to find her. Surprised or not. Unexpected. Very sleepy. I was chopping firewood on the mountain. The mountain was so high and the wind was so strong. I was so scared." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 447. Chapter 447 Private Photos. The club night has finally arrived, and Ye I has to prepare for 2 games. Luo Yuxi said, "Chiao Chiao, you look really good with makeup today. Stand there and let me take more photos for you." First, there are modern dance costumes. The short sleeves that expose the navel are covered with sequins. Although this kind of clothes may make people feel tacky when worn normally, the effect of dancing on the stage is very good, and with the illumination of lights, it can make the wonderful performances on the stage more vivid. In order to reflect the stage effect, the makeup was thicker than usual. The heavy colors took away from her fresh and elegant image of a little fairy, but the facial features outlined by the dark makeup, especially the black eyeliner on the ends of the eyes, were very distinctive. The style is different from usual, and it's also very exciting. Luo Yuxi took pictures of her with her mobile phone. Ye I did not refuse, because she also wanted the photo. "Luo, please send the photo to me later, thank you." "No problem at all." Luo Yuxi gave her an okay gesture. More than a dozen photos were taken in a short time. Looking at the perfectly enlarged photos, Luo Yuxi had to sigh that she was still photogenic because of her 360-degree angle and no blind spots. "I will send you the Wi-Fi when you get back to the dormitory." "Okay, thanks." At the same place, Xiaoziun also ran over with her skirt in hand. As for why she said she ran over with her skirt in hand, because she wore a Lolita outfit on a whim today, and she suffered a lot in the crowded crowd. Xiaoziun held a SLR in his hand, rushed over and held Ye Weiwei down in place. "Chiao Chiao, don't move, I'll help you take the picture. Come on. I just took a few photos, and here is another one that is even more exciting. You are so beautifully dressed today. What are you doing?" Today can be regarded as a celebration for the whole school. Dress up nicely and it will be lively. Society's nights are open to the whole school. Each class will be assigned a viewing position, and the performers are not among them. Luo Yuxi held her mobile phone, and people in the group urged her to send photos. Luo Yuxi hesitated very much as she selected the photo she had just taken of Ye Yi. In the end, he put his cell phone in his bag and pretended not to notice, and sat in the audience. The show was at halftime. Looking at the time, they were going to change clothes and prepare for the ancient dance. Luo Yuxi and Ye were together. The meeting with the gang affected their relationship, but after this half-month, Luo Yuxi felt that Ye Wei had forgiven herself. They groomed each other, and finally put pink flowers on their foreheads. Come on and tie the pink ribbon yourself. Due to financial problems, they couldn't all buy hairpins as decorations, so they tied ribbons directly into bows in their hair. Chiao, let's take a photo. Okay. It is rare to have a costume photo shoot, most people take selfies there or ask others to help them take photos. Ye Wei sent a selfie to Yezikin. Luo Yuxi looked at her phone and sent a photo of Ye Wei in the gang group. Everyone praised him again. Luo Yuxi felt guilty but satisfied. Especially Qiu Yiyan sent her many compliments privately, which made her feel sweet. Qiu Yiyan's private chat, Luo, where are you now? Luo Yuxi's private chat, I'm waiting behind the stage. Qiu Yiyan's private chat, we have arrived at your school. Come out and meet us. Luo Yuxi's heart trembled, what do you mean? Qiu Yiyan's reply, we are here to cheer you on, right at your school. Luo Yuxi almost broke the dancing fan. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 448. Chapter 448 Yezikin and Qiu Yiyan met. Yezikin hurried to school after handling important matters. The gorgeous car stopped at the school gate. He sent a message to Ye Wei, where are you? Ye Wei also holds her cell phone at all times. When she receives a text message, she immediately replies, waiting. Yezikin certainly knew where the waiting area was. He straightened his sleeves and pushed the door open. Qiu Yiyan, gang leader Xiang Yu and others had never been to this school before. At first glance, the playground was crowded with people. Even though they knew the stage was over there, they couldn't get in. Suddenly I saw a man wrapped in a suit walking by and walking straight towards the waiting area. The gang leader Xiang Yu looked at Qiu Yiyan, why don't we ask that man? I'll go say hello and try. Seeing such a handsome man, it was already late and I was eager to try. Yezikin's speed is normal walking speed, and he can catch up in 2 steps at a trot in the dark. Hey, handsome guy, excuse me, do you know where the dance waiting area is? Yezikin glanced at her name indifferently. Xiang Yu, who has a graceful appearance, can tell at a glance that this kind of man will not be tempted by Tian Xuan's internet celebrity face. He feels that he can stand up and talk in a man's way and tone. Sir, excuse me, we are looking for a friend. She is in the waiting area of the show at the moment. Can she help us with directions? Program type. Qiu Yiyan quickly replied, dance, ancient style dance. Yezikin's eyes were cast into the distance, and in order to increase his sense of presence at night, he specifically mentioned her, speaking of which, sir, if you know this school, you should also know her. Her name is Luo Yuxi, the pretty one. Yeah. Yezikin looked away, his deep gaze quickly turned around the 3 of them, and he gave a meaningful 3-point smile at the corner of his mouth. The color in his eyes deepened, and he slowly opened his lips, I'll take you there. Qiu Yiyan was the first to express his thanks, thank you very much, sir. Yezikin withdrew his gaze and walked forward. No matter what the 3 people behind him said, they received no response. Senior Ye, what are you doing? When does the dance in the snow start? There are 2 more games. Both performances are at least 5 minutes long. Okay, the 3 of them are looking for someone, take them in. Okay. Basically no one will question what Yezikin is going to do. Qiu Yiyan and the others did not expect that the random passerby they found turned out to be a senior, who seemed to be very prestigious among the students. It's no wonder that this person looks so good on the surface, so it's no wonder that he is a big shot. Come with me. Qiu Yiyan was led in, but Yezikin ran in the opposite direction. As soon as they entered, They saw Luo Yuxi and Ye Wei talking over there. It was getting late and he really wanted to call someone, but Qiu Yiyan quickly stopped him. They are about to perform. If we meet now, will it affect her mood? Xiang Yu agreed, you are right. We have found the person anyway, so we are not in a hurry. At this time, the teacher in charge of the dance program hurried over. Oh no, Nai Xianxian just twisted her foot. What? The people in the dance team were stunned. Nai Xianxian is their lead dancer. She was nervous to go to the toilet, but she accidentally twisted her foot while going up and down the stairs. There are only 5 minutes left. The dance moves are so simple, you should know it after watching it for so long. She can't play anymore, you should quickly find someone to take over. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 449. Chapter 449. She wears hanfu, and the fire clothes look like fire. Luo Yuxi was very excited. Teacher, I know all the moves of leading the dance, let me do it. The teacher looked her up and down and said, Student Luo, you have indeed worked hard, but the costume of the lead dancer is not suitable for you. Who let her figure out of control? A great opportunity was missed. Hearing this, Luo Yuxi looked down at herself and the pile, feeling very disappointed. Finally, I have the opportunity to show off my talents, but they are always destroyed by various factors. Then let Xiao go, her figure is similar to Nai Xianxian. Me. Ye Wei, who was suddenly called, had a confused look on her face. She usually does things when others call her, and would not bother to fight if she didn't call. Even now, she has never thought about leading the dance in Nai Xuanxuan's place. Ah! Xiao Li, you know the moves, right? He, you know. That's okay, it's up to you. The dance teacher looked at her more and more satisfied, and quickly asked someone to submit the name of the program for revision. But the name Xiao Lian should be able to attract a lot of attention. Yayoi was pushed down to change clothes. Qiu Yiyan and the others were too far apart to hear what was said. Look, why did Luo suddenly leave? I don't know, is there something wrong? Ask. The three of them exchanged one sentence each, and Qiu Yiyan quickly sent a message to Luo, which was received by the real Luo Yuxi. Qiu Yiyan's private chat, Luo, we saw you waiting at the venue, why did you leave? Luo Yuxi looked around nervously, turned her back to the entrance, and then secretly looked at her phone. But she didn't dare reply. She really did something wrong this time. I didn't expect Qiu Yiyan to come to the school. If Qiu Yiyan appears, she will be exposed. Can't help but reply. Luo Yuxi quickly typed and sent out, you guys, don't be at school. You go out first. I will come to you after I finish the performance. Look, Xiao Lian is back. I don't know who saw the return of Ye Wei first. They all couldn't help but exclaimed, wow. Why is there an extra veil? The lead dancer was dressed in a red dress before, but Ye Wei put on a veil, and the flower on her forehead was dazzling red. It's so stunning, but looking at this figure makes people feel like they're all over the country. Obviously they both have similar figures, but for some reason, Xiao Ling looks much better in her clothes than Nai Xianxian. Luo Yuxi couldn't help but stand up and walk to Ye Wei, Xiao, why do you still wear a veil? Mysterious, haha. Ye Wei said casually to put an end to their doubts. Actually, after she changed her clothes, the teacher changed her clothes again. Her fiery red outfit really made people happy. She suddenly didn't want others to see that face. Red dress and red skirt, as strong as fire. Perhaps for performance effect, 2 bells were hung on the red silk shawl, and the sound was clear and crisp. To be fair, she likes this dress very much. Not far away, Xiangyu and others were all amazed when they saw it. John, you can fall in love with such a beautiful woman, you are really making a lot of money. She should be pursued by many people. I don't understand why she is looking for love in a game. Look at her fat roommate, she actually went to dance, tisk tisk, she quit the group after meeting us that day, she must be embarrassed. Stop talking, they're on the scene. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 450. Chapter 450 finally saw through the substitute's lie. Did you hear the name the host read just now? It is said that the lead dancer is Qiao Li. The name Qiao Li is well known in this school. Study, appearance, love, everything is related to excellence for her. How could I say she is at the level of a goddess? She can do everything, even dance, both modern and classical. There was a lot of chatter outside the court, and Qiu Yiyan and Xiangyu were also full of doubts. Xiangyu asked, "Why do I hear that the name I received is Qiao Lian?" Tian Suan nodded in agreement, "That sounds like the same thing to me. Isn't Qiao Ling that fat girl?" "What, you actually said Qiao Lian is a fat girl?" The classmate next to me who was guarding order couldn't listen anymore. Xiangyu patted the male classmate on the shoulder and said, "Hey, classmate, tell us what you know." "Qiao Ling, that's the one who was leading the dance in red just now, the very pretty one. Don't you know her? She is the proud daughter of our school. She was admitted to the school with the top score in the province, and she is also the top student in our school. There is news of a love affair, tisk tisk tisk, it's legendary. Like the day I was in a car accident, and I was knocked to the ground with Qiao Lian. I watched with my own eyes as the boss took Xue Mei Qiao away, and I was all alone. Alas, I was all alone with no one to help me. By coincidence, this is the guy who was hit in the foot in a car accident at the school gate that day." Listening to his series of nagging, the expressions of Qiu Yiyan and others changed drastically. The Luo they thought turned out to be not Luo Yuxi, but Qiao Ling? Who is the fat man they thought was Qiao Lian? Then do you know who the fat girl is with them? A chubby girl? That dear friend thought carefully and shook his head. "I don't know, it should be some little-known person. There are so many people on campus, so it must be very special to be remembered by everyone. And Luo Yuxi?" After hearing these words, Qiu Yiyan and others felt uneasy. Tian Shiwen responded quickly, "We are not being cheated, are we?" "No, it can't be." Xiangyu's rhetorical question only confirmed the answer in Qiu Yiyan's mind. He thought about the fat girl giving him the watch alone and going to the appointment on behalf of Lolo, and it felt like a chill was rising all over his body. There are several large-scale programs like this every semester. Students are always interested in them at first, but then they want to leave. But the school teacher arranged for occasional headcount, no one left, and you always had to take a second look when a new program came out. Look at the stands again. The curtain opens. Into the ear, it is the sound of bells. The lights on the stage gradually brightened, and the dancers on the stage turned their backs to the audience. Those white and light pink people in the group dance turned around one after another, and walked in small steps to form a circle to surround the red-collared dancer in the middle. Many people's eyes turned to the stage, and people behind them even stood up one after another. The man in red on the stage spreads his arms, his wide sleeves show a perfect arc, and throws out his shawl, with the bells on it ringing loudly. "Qiao Ling, Qiao Ling." There was a burst of cheers from the audience. Following the music, she gradually turned around, and her long sleeves gradually opened, revealing the flame flower on her forehead. When everyone held their breath, she opened her long sleeves, revealing a face wearing a veil. Cut. There was a sound of disappointment. The wonderful performance, and the graceful figure still attracted everyone's attention. Her long shawl was hung on her wrists and fell to the ground. The dancer accidentally stepped on the shawl while walking in a circle. Yewei, who was facing away, tugged forward without knowing it, and her body jumped forward uncontrollably. The music reaches its climax just at this moment. I have already imagined a plot to put in the next chapter, which is a very popular paragraph recently. May I ask who your surname is? Where do you live? Do you have a wife and children at home? This little girl is not talented, so I want to use the young master's life to speak. Yewei. End of this chapter.